Imagine yourself being new into anime. Fresh and new, you haven't even heard of it. Doesn't matter the reason why, but you just want to see what all the fuss is about. Maybe you watched a cool clip of animation on Twitter. Maybe you heard the... Maybe you like comics and stumbled upon this video, or saw this sick looking panel. Maybe your gym bro who wears a Goku t-shirt was like, hey dude, you know, you should really watch Dragon Ball. Maybe that's the closest you'll get to an impersonation. I'm not very good at it. Or maybe you saw one of the countless... Sorry. I love those memes. Maybe you saw a hot anime girl. No matter the reason, you didn't know what anime was.
I've never met this man in my life.
And now you want to give it a try. But that's in a perfect world. Now you can do anything without anime being shoved into your face. TikTok, supermarkets, even politics.
Basic Winry and basic C tier. How's that sound, Donald?
Fuck you, Barack.
Fuck you too. Moving on.
Anime is no longer a thing that just the weird kid in the back would talk to you about.
今関係ねえじゃん。今ワンピの話だろ
Anime is mainstream now, and probably your mom knows who Naruto is. But with this popularity also comes saturation, and with so much stuff to pick from, if I were new into anime now, I wouldn't know where to start. It really is a full-on Dark Souls quest to find stuff not too weird or complicated for new anime watchers. And sure, you have the internet and you can search the classics like Cowboy Bebop, Death Note, and Attack on Titan, but I was dumb. I didn't do that. I asked a friend, and she said, yeah, you know, you should really watch Evangelion. That show is pretty fun. So yeah, you can probably guess what happened later. After that mindfuck, I did my own research, and in every list, every recommendation, and at least one friend would name me the undisputed champion, the best of the best, the #1 anime of all time. Oshinoko. Sorry, wait, it's Fullmetal Alchemist. Yeah, we're talking about Fullmetal Alchemist. You already knew that.
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
So, Fullmetal Alchemist has a pretty big reputation. Every time social top set, Fullmetal goes back to #1 again. Now, I'm not one of those people who is like, actually, it's overrated and it's not really that good. Nah, I like this show a lot. It's not my favorite, sure, but it's pretty fucking good. Do I think it deserves the top spot? Honestly, yeah. I'm not saying it's a perfect anime though, but the perfect for beginners. And there's a reason for that. Oh, and if for some reason you haven't seen FMA, I'm going to be spoiling it throughout the video. Brotherhood, by the way, so there's your warning. But first, let me tell you a little story. A few days ago I was sad, not for a particular reason, I just was. I can tell because I always play the same Radiohead playlist. I wanted to watch something. I tried new shows like Baccano, I saw the first episode and it did nothing. Psychopaths, nothing. Durara, nothing. I tried rewatching Whiplash and this guy was screaming at me, but still, the feeling just persisted. I felt empty. And then I realized what I wanted to watch. It had been on my mind for a while, but I just ignored it. Finally, I put on the first episode and it hits me. A wave of nostalgia came over me. This is what I wanted, this familiarity. There's a reason why Fullmetal Alchemist is the #1, and my hypothesis is that it's just a show that can be enjoyed by anyone, anytime. Anime fans and people who are new into anime. Seeing these characters again after a long time reminded me of how much I enjoyed this show. And there are a lot of reasons why this show is great. One of them is that it's just really easy to watch. You start the show like, alright, alchemy, cool. Who is this guy? Why is he doing this? Haha, funny. Military? Okay, Führer? This guy doesn't have a body. Human transmutation? As you watch, the show leaves you with more and more questions and makes you click that next episode. I seem to have a number of episodes that I can keep my concentration on, but the show nullifies that. In one night, I can watch like 12 or more without getting bored, and that's because of how the mysteries are presented. Who is this woman? Who are these guys? What is that? It's like when you're 9 and you start asking your mom for questions about everything. Can you buy me this? Who is this person? Why hasn't dad come home in 9 years? The constant questions make the story feel fresh. We don't get just questions without any answers. The new questions we get are the consequences of the answers we sought. When Ed and Al find how the Philosopher's Stones are made, they also discover that someone has been making them for years. And that leads to the homunculi, and that leads to Father, and that leads to the origin of Hem and Hohenheim. One of the biggest issues a mystery-focused story can have is that everything revolves into that big mystery. Oh, Darth Vader is Luke's father!
Oh no! Anyway...
I can still rewatch Empire to see Yoda and his Force speech, or watch Han do this funny thing, or the weird kiss between Luke and Leia. And there's also the fact that Star Wars is not a mystery but just has that big reveal. But you get the point. One question leads to another, but that doesn't mean that everything hangs in the mysteries. Even if you know the outcome, you can still enjoy the story because it doesn't depend on that big reveal. The mysteries are a big part, but when you uncover a secret more than leading to a definite conclusion, it leads to a new status quo. Shit, the Führer's an artificial human working for the enemy, and the whole military is against us. The repercussions of knowing this are now that Mustang doesn't have his team, and they seem to be in a checkmate. The question changes from what are they planning to how will they get out of this very quickly, and those constant changes make rewatching the show so easy. On the other side of the fence, the realism we see in this world makes it really easy for a new viewer to get invested. If you wanna be a son of a bitch and make someone watch High School DxD right off the bat, they're either gonna 1. Get a whiplash and think,
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
and never watch anime again, or 2. Get horny and be an instant anime fan. Actually, if someone does that, can you please let me know? I wanna know how that goes. But for most people, the subtle approach is the best, and the show blends really well the elements that a casual viewer might know, like the steampunk setting, alchemy for those who like history, and the military with the very literal parallels with our own history, instead of watching the magical interstellar girl that has to rescue the entire universe from a godlike magic cat. It's easier to get invested into something that we already have some sort of knowledge in, instead of something entirely new. And FMA presents a very good introduction to those elements that make anime, well, anime. I think there's not a single trope that Fullmetal Alchemist skips. Loud team protagonist, group of villains, cool side characters, absent father, dead mom, magic power system, recap episode, mentor to the protagonist, the bad guy that turns good, quirky guy, the mandatory love interest, ultra power final boss, time skip, even if it's a short one. And I'm probably missing a lot more. So the next time you see them in another anime, in the back of your mind you'll think, ah, yes, this is normal. Even the most annoying things like, they are still present here, but you can overlook it because it's not shoved into your face. The wacky animations, the annoying sudden screams, the casual sexual harassment. One might think, is this really common? And yes, it is. But at least here is more on the low side. So yeah, I wanted to do a cool segue here, but I couldn't think of anything, so I'll just say it. War!
Yeah, what is it good for?
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
The one element I always try to overlook if present when watching anything is war. Obviously I've never been to war, I barely got in my room, but a few months ago I watched The Pianist for the first time, and that movie just broke me. I watch a lot of stuff, but nothing has really impacted me like that for a while. Seeing that portrayal of the Second World War really showed me a mere glimpse of the very real horrors people had to survive. And ever since that movie, every time I see war in media, it feels a little weird to me. A lot of movies and shows partly glorify war or make it easy to watch, which I won't say is right or wrong, after all, stories can be told however they want. But even watching Attack on Titan making it fucking hype to see all this conflict and death, in the back of my head I feel a little guilty for enjoying it. But Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood takes a different approach. With the Ishvalan War being a clear parallel to what happened in World War II, every time we see a flashback of the events, they are just miserable. And I love that. But not in that way, let me explain. War is horrible, and I'm glad that every time war is shown or mentioned in the anime is in a negative way. The show doesn't hold back at showing, even if fictionalized, the horrors that happened. We see people, kids, being brutally killed, the same soldiers doing the work in tears for the actions they are doing. And even if we don't see the war explicitly, we see the soldiers ponder and regret. Why are we doing this? Are we not supposed to protect people? Are we the baddies? We see their values conflicting with the orders they have to obey, or the measures the Ishvalans will take for what's happening. A pacifist culture pushed by the massacre of their people. The war creates a spiral of hatred affecting everyone and everything for a very long time, just like in real life. War is not shown in a lightly way here. It shapes the story, it forms the characters. We see the consequences of the war create the most compelling characters in the show, with Scar being the clear example of how hatred, even if sort of justified, is not the answer, and to learn to move on and forgive as hard as it is. But also with the soldiers and the people who caused it, never forgetting what they did, never seeking forgiveness, always haunted by their actions, but still looking to atone in any way for what they did. We rarely see one-dimensional characters in the story. Even if we recognize them for a single trait, that is just one layer to them in their whole character. This character writing does not only apply for the good guys, but for the villains as well, with Envy being my favorite example. What I hate the most about Envy is that I like them at some point. When we first met Envy, the personality is kinda fun and laid back, but still clearly malicious. And that stays the same for the most part. Even as an antagonist, they are fun to watch, but then we learn all the stuff that Envy has done. Killing innocents, starting a war, manipulating events in history without the slightest hint of remorse. It's literally that meme of your favorite character and the war crimes they've committed. Envy enjoys what they do. Manipulating people, putting them against one another, creating chaos. We learn how ugly Envy really is, but then we learn the truth about him, and we feel pity. Envy truly embodies the concept of their name. Not just a name to match the set of the homunculi, but as a true representation of what it means. Envy is jealous of humanity, of the bonds we create, of even against all odds the ability of humans to carry on forward. And that jealousy drives them as a character. And we also have greed. The homunculi is supposed to be a physical representation of their name, and I love how greed shifts the perception of wanting everything. He wants to be the king of it all, but at the same time that wanting means to reach out to people of his own volition, unlike his siblings. And once he has what he wants, he protects them. In Dr. Stone there is someone that also characterizes for being greedy, but it always felt to me as the mandatory trait that a character has to have. Ah, this guy is brave, ah, this guy is smart. And here it could make total sense to make greed like a one-dimensional trait, yet they don't. But a full character arc. And I said this in my previous video, but the attention to details is something I really appreciate in stories. Especially like this, that is present throughout the story like a fucking Chekhov's gun. Which is a principle that states that every element present in a story must play a part in the story, yada yada.
Yickety da, ping pong, lippy tappy too ta.
You probably know this already. And this makes the whole story feel so complete when you're done with it. This is a nitpick, but when I watched Demon Slayer, I saw the sword changing color. I don't know if you remember this, but play the flashback. And I thought that would come into play later, but after reading the manga, I'm pretty sure it didn't matter at all. And yeah, it's not very important, but still, that doesn't happen here. Hughes's death, Mustang's principles, the promise he and Risa made, all culminate into that glorious final confrontation with Envy. All those things mentioned way back that we put our attention in feel worth it by the end, because of the amazing execution he had. And I may sound hyperbolic, but this happens with every major plot point. Even with the first episode, this guy is trying to do exactly what everyone else is trying to accomplish by the end of the show. That I don't know if you knew, but it's an anime original episode. It does the same thing that the first episode of Gintama does. In an original first episode, they present the key characters and elements that make the show great, along with a few questions for later the real story to begin, so that we already know the basic information. And this one is a personal, but I'm tired of people making Nina a meme.
What the dog doing?
I get why, but a lot of the times we see Ed and Al flashback to her with regret. What happened was traumatizing for them and affected them for the rest of the story, and it makes me really sad. Alright, next fucking topic.
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
Alright, I rambled enough about this story. You probably get it by now. It's fucking great. You know what else is great? Everything else. The sound design. In my head, the sounds are iconic. The voice acting, the animation. And I mean, just look at these. The animation is overall always great, but right at the best moments to give you 110% when it really matters. And actually, I have a question for you, viewers. Why does the last ending look so good? I mean, just look at the stills. They look absolutely amazing. And I don't think it is 4K, but there is something in them that just stands out and I can't put my finger on it. And also this part, it looks so mesmerizing. I thought it was some 60 FPS shit, but I don't think it is. I don't know, if you do, please let me know, I would really appreciate it. And the music, oh, the music. While writing the script, I've been listening to the OST and it's fucking amazing. Most of the orchestral songs with the choral parts when they do the just gives a kind of church and a holy vibe to the show. Very appropriate for Alchemists. While most of the music seems to be taken out of from like Beethoven time and stuff like that. And yes, I know taste in music is subjective, but I love classical music, man. When John Wick was killing at the tune of Vivaldi, I was losing my shit. But you also have these brass pieces, I don't know if that's the term, that sound like a marching band, that remind you, oh shit, we are in a military setting. And also just straight out certified bangers like this. And this is my opinion, but FMA has 5 out of 5 banger openings. I can objectively say that all of them are amazing. Fuck my opinion, we've done surveys, we asked the population of Earth, we have reached a consensus as a species. Every Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood opening is amazing. Unlike Naruto that has like 17 of them, but I just remember 3. This anime has so many little details that when you add them up, you realize why this show is at the top. I love that the second to last ending starts playing before the end of the episode, making it more hype. I love how the last ending just starts playing. I love the philosophical ideas he has. I love the evolving characters, I love Risa, I love Sheep in Disguise, in my mind they're already married. I love the little sparkles in this part of the opening. I love that Lin is always hungry. I love how the values of the protagonist make them more compelling. I love the intriguing story. I love the lesson it gives you. I love that it feels complete and final. Fullmetal Alchemist is a show that I always forget how good it is until I watch it again. I physically cannot look at it in an objective way, because I love it so much. I watch it at least once a year, and I guess at that time was now, and maybe I was sad because I missed it, but I didn't remember. So with all this said, anytime someone asks me what anime they should start with, my answer is always the same. Either this or Death Note. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I actually have a question for you. Is there a reason you don't like this show? Or something that you don't like as much? I love this show and honestly I'm too blinded to find something that I don't like. So please let me know in the comments. I'll be reading. Well, I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you in the next one. I don't know. I won't promise when. Bye.